Side plank. So we're going to go through all the progressions, starting with the easiest position and ending with the hardest position in relation to a side plank. So go into the ground on my elbow and my knees bent. I want to be in a straight line. And what I'm doing is I'm coming up to this position, hips are coming forward, and I'm keeping my low back in neutral. Oftentimes I see people when they do a knee bent side plank, they really start to arch through their low back because their knees are bent and it's putting load through what's called your rectus femoris or some of your quad muscles. So just be mindful that you're squeezing your glutes in order to keep that in a neutral position. I've had clients in the past that feel better if you put a yoga block between their knees, have them squeeze that a little bit and bridge up, and it helps set their pelvis and will help reduce some of that load and arching in their low back. So this would be our simplest progression or starting position in a side plank. Now from here, I could add side plank with a pulse. So I just dip up and down. And then I could do it with a hip tap where I come all the way to the ground and then come all the way to that top position. So side plank with my knees bent. And then what I can do is I can do side plank with the top leg straight and my knee bent. So I'm putting a little bit of load through that top hip. And again, I can progress that by adding the dips or a hip tap, okay? So again, starting with that knee bent position and on my elbow is going to be the easiest position. And then from there, what I can do is go to getting ahead of myself, go to my elbow, but with my legs straight, where I'm in this position, straight line head to toe, not overarching my back. And then from here, my progression would be adding a little bit of a pulse or adding a hip tap, where I'm training through more range of motion. And then a progression from this position, I'm gonna switch sides to give this left side a break, would be staying on my elbow, but coming into this star plank position. And then from here, you could do the same thing where you could add pulses. And then you could add a hip tap. And then the last phase of progression of what I would consider just a pure side plank is going to your hand, starting in this position. And then from here, I can add my pulses. If you have the mobility to come all the way down to the ground and tap your hip and come all the way back up, you could do so. And then we could scale that even further by going to a side plank, adding your pulses, and then adding a hip tap with that star plank position. So you can see there's many ways that we could scale this forward or regress it to make it easier or harder relative to your strength and your ability to hold those positions. Most typically, we're gonna start with just an isometric hold, which means there's gonna be no pulses, no taps, none of those, and then we'll progress forward, making it harder, or regress back a little bit to make it easier, depending on how your body feels and your technique.